Hey everyone, it's the Financial Reboot Investment Team with your daily live show. So let's get right to it. It was a little bit soft of a day in the markets today. We pop over to CNBC and take a look. The Dow was up 9 points, 0.04%. The S&P was up 3 points, not even a quarter of a percent, and the Nasdaq was up 22 points, or just a little over a quarter of a percent. So it was really a flat day in the market. The VIX didn't really flash anything important. It doesn't seem like, it's still under that 10 level, which is very, very, very risk on. In the news cycle, most of the news cycle today was about the Texas church shooting, which was a horrifying event. Um, Other than that, there was a little bit of the Broadcom news. Late in the day, we got this news that 24th Century Fox was in talks to buy some assets from Fox, or Disney was in talks to buy some assets from 21st Century Fox, which of course owns Fox News. The conclusion of that story is the talks are no longer going on. Other than that, there's just not a whole lot of news cycle. What we did, and this will play into our next subject, what we did get a lot of news on was Saudi Arabia, right? You saw oil had a huge day today. As the Saudi political purge goes on, there was some arrests and a lot of action in Saudi Arabia. So, oil ended up about 3%, up about 3% for the day. It's pulled back just a little since the close. But if you were following the last couple of weeks, somebody last week asked us what stock we like in oil, and we said WPX. WPX was up about 50, 60 cents today, so it's actually hanging in there tough. We like that stock. It's rolling into its earnings, and it should be a good quarter for it. The big thing though is gold. Gold, we've been telling you we've been long. Today it blew up 13 points, 1%. We think this is just the beginning of a big move. Saudi Arabia is accusing Iran of being behind shooting that missile at them over the weekend that they shot down. Of course, you have Trump in Asia right now, which creates a little volatility. He was between him and the Japanese minister this morning. They were talking a lot about how Japan might arm up, and just a lot of rhetoric that's very it shakes up the market. There's a lot of talk about Japan wants to rearm themselves. They want to. Trump's talking about selling them missile launchers and things like that. It's just really, really a lot of rhetoric. This is what we expected. This is what we expected from Trump's trip to Asia. This is just the beginning. He's still got to meet with China. He's still got to meet with a bunch of people. If I'm not mistaken, he's even going to go by the Philippines and meet with Duterte from the Philippines. So we'll see how that turns out. Let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. Bitcoin today, Goldman Sachs came out with another prediction. Bitcoin can run past 7,900. That's probably the most tame Bitcoin prediction we've seen in a long time. Bitcoin today, though, had a big boom. It was up to 7,500 over the weekend. You can see it's been as low as 69. When we started recording, it was at just below 7,000. It's at 7,100 right now. It's got that big fork coming up. A lot of people are expecting big acceleration from the stock on that. Uh, the technicals are flashing on the short term, flashing a sell. Long term, they're flashing a buy. So it's interesting, there's just no precedent for Bitcoin right now. So really, everybody's doing their technical charting and stuff like that, but how much weight can you give it, right? I mean, it just seems like Bitcoin is one of those assets you just buy and you just hold it. Just don't worry about it and hold on to it. We'll see how that plays out, though, as we roll into the week. Like we said, that fork's coming up, so we'll see how that plays in. So, it was really a soft market today. So we'll just do a quick live show today. Everybody can get their Monday afternoon started. It was a great weekend. Daylight savings time started today, this morning. So I know everyone in the trading room's happy because instead of getting up at 2:30 in the morning, they can get up at 3:30 in the morning now. Um, Other than that, futures are up a little bit. The dollar's down a little bit. just nothing really, really making a hard break one way or the other. So, today we didn't take up any new trades. We didn't close out any positions. Kind of just were, it seems like most people just kind of standing on the sideline watching what's happening. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. It's earnings. There's not much to look forward to tomorrow. Pretty much we've rolled through earnings season. Whatever's coming through right now is not that important. But the stocks did hit a record today, but not with a lot of conviction. It just wasn't a lot of conviction. And so, let's call it an afternoon. As always, we'll review what we're into. If you guys want to keep up with what we're into, we're still in XLU, the utilities. We're still in XLP. We just took up a position last week. We talked about an XLP, some January options. Uh, we've still got the Coke trade going on. Coke had a rough day today, but we'll see if that bounces back from that. Nothing to worry about. We didn't feel like just a little bit of a, it's just got that ebb and flow going. Coke's actually had a good couple of weeks recently. The other stocks we're in, we like U.S. Steel, which is X. X had a good day today. That's a long-term play. That's something we bought for the longer term. It pays dividends. And U.S. Steel, I mean, you talk about a Trump trade, right? That's a Trump trade. Other than that, Janet Yellen speaks tomorrow, so we'll see what comes out of her lips, and we'll see. Until then, we'll just kind of step back and we'll just monitor our positions. If something breaks down, we'll get out of it before we get too big of a loss. If something blows up, well, of course, we'll take profits. Nobody ever lost money taking profits. Uh, and we'll keep an eye on the Bitcoin too. So you guys have a great afternoon. Monday Night Football this afternoon. A funny thing, we were reading articles because we're trying to find a trade on that. But it's something we don't want to just rush into with the short on the NFL. And we saw a lot of tweets about yesterday's half-empty stadiums, but every picture we saw was like the 49ers home park. Look, they're like an 08, 09 team. Halfway through the season, if you have no wins, your stadium's going to be half full anyways. Okay, so I don't know if that's an indicator for anything. And the couple other stadiums we saw were teams with poor losing records. Um, this is what we say. We talked about on Friday when we had that little rant about the NFL. This is what we say is one of the biggest problems for the NFL. You look at it halfway through the season, and the season's pretty much over for half of the teams. Your top five quarterbacks, two of them are out permanently, right? You've got Deshaun Watson's out for the season. You've got Aaron Rodgers out for the season. Tonight, you've got the Green Bay Packers playing the marquee Monday Night Football game. How many out there that's not from Green Bay can name the current starting quarterback for the Packers? Nobody in this office could. So how many people are going to watch that game? But it's just not exciting. The league's over diluted. The star power is not strong enough to support all those teams. And then now they're expanding, right? Next week, I believe we get the New England Patriots are playing a game in New Mexico. I forget against who. But it might be a time for the NFL to change leadership because it's really at a teetering point right now. On top of getting over diluted and at the same time trying to expand internationally, which is probably a recipe for disaster. Um, on top of it, this protesting things come in, and that's created massive chaos. And you're just not getting any leadership. Again, we are halfway through the season. Nothing has been settled on the protests. Colin Kaepernick still doesn't have a job. Last week, we talked about it on Friday's show. His agent was saying somebody's close to signing him. Still not working. So I mean, it's just a mess. The NFL is a mess. It all starts with the leadership. It looks like they want to get some new leadership. On the political front, Donna Brazil, man, her book tour is just lighting up things. Um, she'll actually be a guest tomorrow. I was kind of surprised to see this, but Dana Perino, the former George Bush press secretary, she has a talk show on a very well respected young lady on the Fox, and she'll have Donna Brazil tomorrow. I thought that'd be real interesting to have Donna Brazil in a Fox studio. Um, explain her side of all of this. You know, it's just really lighting some fires. This morning, we were sitting around, we were watching uh, the DNC, somebody from the DNC debating the whole Donna Brazil statements, and they were saying there's been no collusion, there's been nobody got railroaded and stuff. I think you've got millions of Bernie Sanders fans that will disagree with you. Hey, you know, does that mean that the DNC is still out of touch and they're still not getting it together? Well, we got a big governor's contest coming up tomorrow in Virginia. Uh, Virginia, a state that Hillary won, what 5 points, 6 points, something like that, but handily, right? Democratic state, and right now it looks, according to the polls, it's like a 1 or 2% lead for the Democrat, which is, we've seen how these polls work in the general election. I mean, 1 or 2 points is not uh, very much. You know, with this whole Donna Brazil book tour. It's interesting because we haven't heard from Tom Perez, who leads the DNC, and you know there might be a reason that he's not saying anything, right? He might know more than he wants to comment on. But anyways, so you know, besides that, tomorrow, you know, we've got a little bit of excitement tomorrow. We've got Janet Yellen's going to be speaking. We've got Donna Brazil continues her book tour. And Trump continues his tour in Asia. So let's see how it goes tomorrow. You know, today we had something that was really, really funny and almost vindicated President Trump. First thing we noticed when we got up this early this morning as a trading team, we started rolling into the office, was CNN. You know, we when we first saw the news, we thought it was, we were like everyone else. Oh my God, Trump, what did you do now? And what it was CNN had released that he had poured his box of fish food. They were feeding koi, which is traditional for the big political visitors with the Prime Minister of Japan. So they were feeding their koi, and they have little spoons. So I guess they were spooning it. And then the Prime Minister of Japan, Abe, poured his out, and so Trump poured his out, right? And then, but what we saw on CNN was Trump rudely was trying to kill the fish and doing something crazy. They had actually cut out the part where Abe put his in. So, I mean, you talk about fake news. This does not help to dispel any of that fake news uh, fire. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, this one's about CNN, but look, almost every day you could find something like this on all the stations. None of the stations are not guilty of it, okay? None of the networks are not guilty of it. So I don't want you to think we're picking on CNN. It just happened to be CNN this morning, and it was just so obviously fake. But you know, you guys, when you watch the news, you guys be leery, okay? You know, you guys make sure you verify everything. Don't knee jerk. The biggest thing right now is don't fall for the knee jerk reactions to news because we don't know how accurate they are. I don't care what news service it comes from. Okay, gang? That's your advice for the day. So, you know, this is a financial reboot investment team. You know, we're going to sign off for Monday. You guys enjoy football if you're into that this afternoon. It's a beautiful day in Honolulu. Hope it's a beautiful day wherever you are. Our prayers and best wishes go out to the, oh my goodness, those people in the church in Texas. It's such a horrific event. You know, we don't want to talk about anything else except healing these victims. I mean, oh my God, it was such a terrible, terrible, frightening event. To think that that can happen in America in this day and age is just scary. But rather than get into this debate like everybody else did about guns and crazy people and things like that, we just want to say from Financial Reboot, we're praying for you and our hearts are with you. My God, it's such a horrific event. Um, God bless you all. So, from the trading desk in beautiful Kalihi, Hawaii, let's call it a day. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow after the market, okay? Don't forget, there's a link at the bottom. If you want to get in on the newsletter service, dirt cheap, great service, personalized service. You even get access to a live trading room and stuff. Everybody else uses a trading room for an upsell. We don't. Um, so you guys, if you're interested, click the link, man. Come on, join us. You get these alerts as they happen. Other than that, you know, tune in. We appreciate you tuning in. Please tell a friend, pass the video on if you enjoyed it, if it did something for you. Again, don't forget we're in Coke, we're in XLU, which is utilities. We're in XLP. The XLP, which is the consumer staples, were out all the way to January. The others were in December options. The only trades we've still got for November options is the gold trade. And with gold blowing up today, it looks like we're going to be cashing out on those soon. Keep your fingers crossed. Anyways, all you Bitcoin players, take it with a grain of salt. We remember what happened the last time that it pulled back like this. It just blew up, and you know, it's really really a fun thing to watch. I hope you're having as much fun playing it if you're playing it. But like I said, all you Bitcoin players, keep your chin up. We remember what happened the last time it pulled back. We're still looking to get into Bitcoin, but we're not into it. So for full disclosure, like that, right now we're not playing Bitcoin yet, but we're rooting all you guys on. Okay, we're every time I see a post on a message board, Bitcoin's going to 10,000. I'm like, yeah, you guys go make some money. That's what it's all about. Let's all make some money. Okay. All right, gang. So we'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon. Again, thank you for joining us from beautiful Kalihi, Hawaii. Aloha.